What's poppin', y'all? After delivering one of, we would say the worst performance of Aiden Ross's brand risk fighting event, main event of all time by not even putting on a performance, Adam22 seemed like he was going to run off with a big bag, but that came into contention very quickly because Adam would reveal that they were not trying to pay him. Now, first, let me just show you guys Adam22's performance.
You know right now, you know we got our back.
Go time.
Oh,
Never let a man f your
never let a man f your.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. Never.
No.
No way. Wait, no.
This ain't going long.
Oh, my God.
Told y'all.
No.
Told y'all.
Yo, he practices score punch, not take a punch.
Bro, Adam, what are you doing?
It's going down. This is all part of the plan.
Wax set him up.
This is all part of the plan.
Wax set him up.
Wax, you set him up.
No, I didn't.
You didn't get him good training.
This is all
You
part of
set
the
him up.
plan.
He didn't. Yo, what the f***?
Gotta
You
put
what?
it back.
You set him up. I gave him back shots and I f***ed you up. Yes.
Come on, Adam.
Walk this way. Let's go, 22 Street. Let's go to the plan.
Let's go. It was at this moment.
So yeah, that was not a performance at all, and a lot of us were not just disturbed, but we were freaked out. Like, wait, what? Man, how does this happening? Even Whack 100, who's close to Adam22, was so shocked and thought he would at least throw a punch right after, because he had seen him train. But Adam22 would go on his podcast and talk about how they were trying to pull the money that they initially agreed to pay him.
Rainbet at one point wasn't sure if they wanted to pay me the full purse. I'm going back and forth with them. I'm like, hey, you guys gonna send the crypto, whatever? They respond after a couple hours. They're like, hey, we're sending half, but we're currently reviewing the contract to decide if we feel like we are obligated to pay you the other half. So I'm looking at my phone like, what the? Because there's a thing called the fair play clause in the contract or whatever that basically stipulates like they don't have to pay you in full if they feel like you rigged the fight, if you gave up too easily, if you didn't fight back. Does some of these sound like me?
Check.
Immediately when I went back and I started reading the contract, I'm like, ah. But Aiden didn't mention this on stream. Aiden was actually the one who hits me up and goes, yo, even though you didn't fight back very well, you promoted the out of the fight, and you were probably like the reason why it was so big and so viral, so I'm gonna make sure that they pay you. So Aiden was actually the good guy in shining armor right there, because he actually really went out of his way, and boom, I got paid the rest of it by the end of the night.
So this seemed like an appearance fee situation, like a half here, then half then. And Aiden Ross would actually respond to this, which I'm going to play you guys right now. This is the clip that Adam22 is referring to when Aiden spoke on this situation.
Oh, baby. I missed him. Let's never fight again.
It's actually real, not AI. Wow. So, well, okay, I already see what you were saying. Guys, you guys were not happy with the main event the way it went, right? Adam didn't throw a punch. I spoke with Adam about it, and I said, Adam, you didn't throw a punch. And honestly, Rainbet was really upset. And Rainbet they were like, yo, is there anything in this contract, in the clause where, you know, we can, because there is something in the contract that does state if you don't try and you don't give it your all, you lose some of your purse. So, you know, that was a conversation we had and we spoke about it. Because truth be told, if you go in the ring and you don't really do what everyone's expect you to do and try, there's a lot of problems, you know. But the one thing I did say was, you know, we don't want to look sweet, and we don't want to just basically, we got to make examples out of them, you know. So it is what it is, bro. But I think he said this is.
So here I'm looking at it like, yo, Rain, they're probably correct in that if they didn't pay Adam22, it would have made sense, because we got to look at this in two different ways. Number one is that they gave him, 10 days notice or 2 weeks? It was less than 3 weeks of notice. So less than 3 weeks of notice for somebody like Adam22 that has zero fight experience, that was not previously training. I don't know how consistent he was working out, which regardless, that's not really going to do much. It wasn't he got winded type of situation, because even after Adam got up, or, well, he didn't want to get up after the second knee, but once they rung that bell and he was doing the interview, he looked less tired than Jason Love, which is understandable considering Jason Love was throwing haymakers for about the 30 seconds that they fought. But when you look at him, you're like, okay, this guy was in enough shape that he wasn't completely gassed out after 30 seconds despite taking the beating. And it's like, I guess who's going to get more tired, the person throwing the punches or the person eating them? I don't really know in this scenario, especially for somebody untrained. So I guess that's why maybe Aiden Ross was cutting him a little bit of slack, and also the promotion part about it, which I get. Yeah, this Adam22 made this event huge. It was just a perfect setup, and he would also talk about other opponents that they had set up for him, which we're going to get into in a moment. But when I look at it, I think it's good that they paid him, because they should keep this relationship, and people are going to want to see Adam22 fight again, because we didn't see Adam22 fight. That's the thing. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, now he paused, blew his load, and no, he's not going to be as much of a draw. But he promoted the fight very well. Adam22 is a very, I wouldn't say controversial figure, but he creates a lot of polarity and discussion around him, especially when it's doing things that are out of the ordinary. Like him talking about something hip-hop, him doing something like X-rated. That's just become expected now, that it doesn't hit the same as when it first happened. But fighting is something completely new, and it generated a ton of eyeballs. And I think a lot of people became fans of Brand Risk based off of the other fights, because the event was such a great event. Even at Whack 100, who was Adam's co-host, was saying like, man, they put on such a great fight. Yours was basically the worst one. So even he became a bigger supporter, even though he's cool with Aiden. So I think this net was a benefit for Brand Risk, even though in the clause, like Adam22, he reads the clause and it's like, yeah, you completely fall under that. You look like you could have kept going. You could have gotten up after the second knee. He didn't throw a single punch. He kind of just shuffled around, and it was not a fight whatsoever. A lot of people were disappointed at others that were getting paid less, were not main event, like that Just X Snags guy that I was talking about. But I think the most confusing part about all of this was, why didn't Adam22 fight back? And he would break down why he didn't fight back in this clip I'm going to play for you guys right now.
I don't want to harp on this for too long, because I talked about it for like an hour on the Tuesday show the other day, whatever. But I learned so much about, your guard, how you protect yourself from punches. I got hit one time with my hands like this. Boom. My hands went. Like, in that moment, it was just like, oh, this dude is so much stronger than me that the idea of me blocking his punches is really out the window.
So why didn't you try to punch back immediately?
I think I was just too overwhelmed by the fact that he was punching me so many times. Now, definitely that is what I wish that I had been able to pull off.
Did you just like zone out? I kind of felt like you zoned out. Like,
I mean, I was really just like getting punched a bunch of times. I don't know if I would call it like zoning out so much as that I was just really like overwhelmed by how many times I was being hit.
Did he hit you harder than the dude that you were sparring with?
Yes.
He did.
And that guy that we're talking about, the Russian dude at Kaminsky Boxing, a way better boxer than Jason Love. But we're sparring, so he's not hitting me as hard as he possibly can. I did have headgear on also. But then, like, more importantly, I think, is just the fact that Jason Love was just, like, so big and strong that I don't think anything could have prepared me. Like, I've been in a lot of fights over the years. I never got hit like that, even with the boxing glove. It was just like, oh. Now, I do wish that I had kept going after that second knee, because it, once I, like, really thought about it from Aiden and Rainbet's perspective, I was kind of like, like.
30 seconds.
72.
Was it?
Well, I mean, if you want to cut out like the parts where the ref like stopped the fight and stuff, yeah, it probably was closer to 30 seconds.
Bro.
One thing that I love about this clip is the brutal honesty from Adam22, because this is the exact thing that everyone quotes from Mike Tyson all the time, which is, I don't know if the quote is attributed to him or if he actually said it, just to make that clear, but it's, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Now, Adam22 is like, yo, I was training, I was holding up my guard, how to protect myself from punches, and he rocked me straight through. So he just punched straight through Adam's guard, which Adam must be quite weak in comparison to Jason Love for that to happen. Like, for instance, Jake Paul, right? Like, Anthony Joshua cracked that dude's jaw. And Jake Paul's got a lot more muscle on him than Adam22. And so I think when they fell in the same weight class, Jason Love and Adam22 may have weighed the same, but a lot more of it was fat and less lean muscle than Jason Love, who had a lot more lean muscle. So he's going to be able to generate a lot more force than Adam. And him getting hit, he was like, I just didn't even know what to do. I was in a daze. I thought I had to guard. I threw up my guard. That's what we trained. He punched right through my guard. It's like two chopsticks that just separated. He just spread the sea like Moses with that right hand. And he just clocked me, and I didn't even know what to do after that. And he made a good question, which was, wasn't your trainer like a better boxer than Jason Love? And I think that might have not harmed him, but the person that trained with him or that sparred with him was just a lot more chill about it. Like usually the people that are going to spar with an Adam22 or somebody that's new, they're going to be like, okay, well, let's chill out on this guy. We're not going to hit him as hard as we possibly could, or frankly, even 50% as hard as we could. They're probably telling them like, yo, you got 3 weeks with this guy. This guy's got 3 weeks to train. He's new. We're just trying to get him in there with the basics so he can survive and potentially win, because that's what his trainers were telling him. So the guy's not going to throw as hard as a Jason Love. So Adam22 goes in there, and he was unprepared to get hit this hard, and he shut down. Now, a lot of other people, they usually get, and this is why I think Adam is very, very different personality-wise, because others may get angry and just start throwing some hard punches. Because like a Whack 100, the way that he described the response, he's like, wait, why didn't you just start trying to hit him? That would probably be his response, although Whack 100 has had a history of getting into violent altercations from childhood, from growing up in the areas that he grew up in, and from being locked up. You're not going to go out of there without a fight. And the fact that he said he had never been hit that hard in his entire life, that just goes to show you, in the ring, he had no idea what to do. His brain shut off. It's like when we saw Jake Paul, when he got cracked by Anthony Joshua and he fell on the floor, and his eyes were completely open, his mouth open. I think that's when his jaw broke. But he was like, whoa. He had never felt pain like that before. Or he had never felt impact like that before. And that's Jake Paul, who has sparred hard. He's fought hard. He's sparred probably harder fighters than he's actually fought because of, the way that he's set up his career. But that's a Jake Paul. So for an Adam22, I think he was just donezo after that. And Chase Demore also talked about that, which we got to give some credit to Chase Demore, because Chase Demore, the guy that fought and beat Andrew Tate in their recent fight, was saying that he had never been hit as hard as he had been hit by Andrew Tate. And that guy did not drop. He did not give up. He just applied the pressure. And, that guy's a fighter. But the other options that they were giving Adam22 were, they were giving him AD, which AD's my guy. I really like AD. He's always treated me well. AD's just a solid guy overall. You never hear anybody have anything bad to say about him. But AD, oh my goodness, that would be another fight after this. But I think Adam22 is probably of the mindset that he doesn't want to promote AD, and he has more of a cordial business relationship with Jason Love. And Jason Love's never really disrespected him that much, except that one case where he did an interview. But since that, it seems like they're cool. But AD has a personal issue with Adam22 in a history. So he would have wanted to put the pain on him a lot more than Jason Love. And the other options were, no, actually AB, not AD. That was my mistake. It was Antonio Brown and Blueface, some other football player, like NFL player, and Jason Love, which if you look at that roster, that is probably the best person that he could have fought, especially when Jason Love is smoking cigs, drinking. They said his blood pressure was like 170 or something. He had a very high blood pressure. It was difficult for them to sanction the fight. So all of that together, you would think, Jason Love's probably the easiest option. Like NFL players, they're strong. They're a lot more likely to be fit. And they're also genetic freaks because they made it to the NFL. Like NFL is a lot, I would say it transitions a lot better to fighting and aggression than NBA. Like NBA is very, very, very different, as we've seen with Nate Robinson, for instance, who really launched Jake Paul's career to such another level. Hey, Nate Robinson's a great athlete, though, and really respect to him for getting in the ring and putting on a good performance. But when you look at those people, Adam22 is like, yeah, that group of people, that's otherworldly. I don't think I'm trying to fight anybody like that again. So he's trying to find another list of people that would make sense. And it's hard because Adam doesn't seem to have beef with anybody. And who else would it make sense for him to get in the ring with that is going to be a good draw? I think they'd have to set something up. Him and Blueface wouldn't make sense to fight each other at all. I mean, Blueface would crush Adam, but Blueface was supposed to get Adam's back fade, but they're saying that Jason Love is trying to avoid the situation with Blueface, which I understand why. Blueface is certainly more athletic than that guy. But when it comes to weight class, Blueface is fat right now. Like when he fought, he was at 150 or something like that. He's a very lean guy when he was in his best shape. So he's probably going to, and he's maybe 210 now. So that's a different story. And I do think it makes a good storyline, but I don't see what kind of opponent they're going to give Adam22. Who do you guys think they should throw him in the ring with that he would be able to sell a fight? And would you want to see him fight again? At this point, I don't know. I don't know if he's just talking and saying that, yeah, he wants to get in there. And for sure, he wants to get in there for the bag again. But I don't know if he wants to actually fight this time or thinks that he's going to fight this time or if we're going to just see the same outcome. I think that's the scary part. But I do think that Aiden Ross's team is correct in wanting to have, taken away half. But if he's going to come back and promote it, I like that Aiden Ross fought for him. But now I think it's got to be a scratch your back, you scratch my back situation where Aiden Ross made sure you got the second half of your fight. You got to come back with another fight, a big promotion, and put on some sort of a performance. You guys got to give him a layup because right now the question is, okay, is Adam22 going to go in there and actually throw a punch or fight this time, or are we going to see the same outcome? And there is anticipation in that, for me at least. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see you on the next one.